Good morning, fellow gardeners. Well, we're back making another video on these wicking tubs, and we're gonna change up a little about how we use the pipe in these tubs. Nothing wrong with the way we always put 3 pipes crossways. It was just, you had 6 holes you had to stop up. We were putting a piece of ground cover over it to stop them up, save them covering the ends. We're going to do this a little different because I want to show you folks out there where you're just building a few tubs, you have time to cover them. And I want to ask you to forgive me for something. A couple of 3 years ago when I made this first video on using this pipe, I told you to use 6-inch pipe, and then you run out to buy a pipe and nobody handles a 6-inch pipe like they did here in southern Oklahoma. So I want you to forgive me for doing that. Don't go try to buy a 6-inch pipe. You don't have to have the 6-inch. The only reason I was using a 6-inch pipe was because we had tubs all over town up here with flowers in them that we were hauling water to and watering with, and in the summertime when it got hot, we were having to water twice a week, 3 times a week with this 4-inch, because our flowers were 4 and 5 feet long in these tubs, and it was sucking so much water out of there we couldn't keep them watered. So we went back for the next year and used 6-inch, put our hole at 5 inches, and we had more water and we get by and just water twice a week. And we went back now and revised that where we use the trucker's bucket and we can get by once a week now. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you how to build this wicking tub out of this French drain pipe. Go get you some 4-inch. Lowe's has some 10-foot pieces. They have some 100-foot rolls. All these other Tractor Supply, Orscheln's, any of them like that. These equipment dealers, you know, that, what am I wanting to say? I know what is Tractor Supply now? What do you call them? Garden store. Farm stores. Thank you, Joyce. Farm stores. So what we do, go get you some of this. Now we're going to cut this piece 4 foot and 4 inches long. That's what it takes to go around the bottom of this bucket. Cut you one 4 foot 4 inches long. Okay. Then you're going to cut you another piece 10 or 11 inches long. Then I'm going to show you how to just cover the ends. We're going to do it a little different instead of using all that ground cover in there. Now I still advise you to buy you some ground cover that's commercial grade. You can buy this at Lowe's. It's got a 10 or 12, 15-year warranty on it. Or, you know, if you don't want to come buy it off of me, and I understand if you're living in some other state, you need to buy it there at home. Don't need to pay freight on something you get at home. We cut this cloth into 12-inch squares. 12 inches squares, what it is. Then we pull it down over the end. Now I've got zip ties here. I put 3 zip ties together. Let me see what I did with my other zip ties. I don't know what I did with them. Yeah, here they are right here. Here's where I cut this cloth, 12 inches square. And this is where I take the pipe, and we're going to take it and we're going to slide it right down over the end of that and close that off. You can put zip ties, tie 3 zip ties together and zip tie it on there. You can tie string around it. You can use duct tape around it, anything to close this up so that the soil can't get into your pipe. Now you have slits in it. Yes, I advise you getting the one with slits. You don't have to, because the water will go in and out these ends. But that's the way you close them ends in, just like into that right there. And you just got that tightened up a little bit, and just use that, leave that ugly thing down there on the bottom just like that, and it'll be okay. We're going to do both ends the same way. But for the sake of time, I'm going to lay this to the side and get one we've already covered both ends up. So I'm going to put that over to the side. I'm going to get this piece 4 foot 4 inches long, and I'm going to curve it around in the bottom. Now I'm going to try to get these 2 ends to come together opposite from my hole. My weep hole is over here on this right hand side, my right hand, and we're going to put these together over on the left hand. So I'm going to turn this right around. Here's the hole right here between my knees, and I'm going to go right in there like into that, push that together right down in the bucket like that right there. Now it's down in there, okay? Now I'm going to take this 11-inch piece that I put a piece on each end, and we're going to set it crossways right in there, just like that. See, that's 11 inches, and that's plenty long. 10 inches would work just fine and dandy. Now then, that's the way I'm going to use the pipe now. You can still use the 3 crossways if that's what you want to do. You just have to close in 6 ends now instead of 4 ends. So we do this for y'all just to show you a simpler way to do it. You got your pipe that you cut off at a 45, drop it right down in that hole right there, and you're ready to fill it up with soil right there like that. Okay, Richard, I'm ready for you to help me fill it up now, and I'll hold the pipe up. Now use potting mix, not potting soil. Now, you want to know what is a potting mix made out of? It's usually made out of peat moss, pine bark, and perlite. Don't use vermiculite. It holds too much water. We've got to have a balance of air, water, and food that goes to these plants. And I'm using Fertilome right now. We used to use Berger, but as you know, I ordered 10 semi-trailer loads of Berger and never got a single one. All right, we stopped about 5 or 6 inches down there. Let me put my fertilizer in, and then Richard will help me go ahead and finish it up. Okay, remember now, we use the half a cup of Sustain, which is chicken poop turkey feather. Now, yes, if you can't find Sustain, if you don't want to order it off of us, and we'll ship it to you. It costs $2.50 a pound. Or you can go to Walmart and buy Tomato Tone. It comes in a little red and white bag. Richard, would you step over and get me that red Tomato Tone sack over yonder? I'll show them what it looks like. You can put a half a cup of that in there the same way. Okay, we've put our Sustain in there. Now we're going to put our sea mineral. Let me get the sea mineral right. That's lime. Here's your sea mineral right here. All right, we use 1/4 of a cup of this. Thank you, Richard. It's good to have good helps around you, and I've got some mighty good help here. All right, this is the 1/4 of a cup of sea mineral. Now, that's not sea salt. That is sea mineral. I know there's one out there called C90. It will probably work just fine. I've never used it. It may be a little finer than this. I know the Redmond sea mineral, it's got lots of salt in it. We tried using that because it's a lot cheaper than this, but we burned a lot of plants up with it, so I backed off of it. I'm not saying it's not a good one. I'm just saying I tried to use it, but using as much as we did in this, it burned our plants, so we didn't use the Redmond sea mineral. Okay, now then I've got to put 1/8 of a cup of gypsum and lime and Epsom salts. Okay, here's your gypsum. We're going to put 1/8 of a cup of that in, and 1/8 of a cup of our lime. This is garden lime. This is not slack lime. Don't use slack lime and burn your plants. Use a Dometic or garden lime, agricultural lime, and then here's your Epsom salt. Oop.
Does your measurements have to be exact?
No, it doesn't have to be really exact. You can tell me. I'm kind of just approximating. It's okay. You're not going to get sued over the deal or anything. This is Epsom salt that you have under your bathroom sinks in every house. You don't need to order that off of me. Just use your own, or you can go to the drugstore and buy about a half a gallon milk container looking deal full of Epsom salt, pretty cheap. Anyway, there's our five fertilizers: our Sustain, sea mineral, gypsum, lime, and Epsom salt. That's your 5 you put in the ground. If you need a paper on this, if you'll call either one of the numbers, we will text you one of these back. Call us on a cell phone so we can get it back to you. Don't call us on a house phone. We need that cell phone so we can send it right back to you. Now, if you can't find the Sustain and don't want to order it, here's a Tomato Tone. I know Walmart sells this. It's organic also, like this other is, and you can use this. So we can find it at Walmart and some of the other chain stores maybe. But that's a good one to use. Yes, you can use that on anything that you want to put it on that blooms. You know, it's a where does it tell me what it is? It's a 3-4-6. It'll work for you on anything. The only thing is, you're going to have to add some nitrogen to it if you use it on leafy greens, because you need more nitrogen. Again, you know, instead of half as much nitrogen as you have potash, you need to put some more nitrogen to it. I don't want to confuse you there, but that's the way it is. Okay, Richard, we're ready to fill this on up. We're getting ready to have a red bucket ready to plant. It really doesn't make any difference. The only thing is a clear tub or a white tub, algae will grow inside of it. That's the only problem with using a white tub. You know, you could take and paint that thing blue. Thank you, Richard. That's just about enough what we need. Remember, this is potting mix. This is not potting soil. Potting soil is cheaper, but it's too tight and it will not breathe, so it wicks too much water, so we've got to use potting mix.
Would you repeat what you just said about algae?
Yeah, if you use a white tub or a clear tub, algae will grow inside of it. Even in your barrel of water, algae will grow in that water if you use a white tub. You're going to have to paint that thing either black or blue. I don't like to paint black because black absorbs too much heat and it'll get your water or your soil too hot in the summertime. But if you use a blue, it won't get that. Don't get quite as hot. And we'll come back and make one here in a little bit. I mean, the next video out probably will be on the growing in the bags, the grow bags. Because I told you these get hot in the summertime. You could paint them white. Now it's okay to paint you paint them dark and then paint them white. You've got it colored to where the sun won't shine through it and grow the algae. So just whatever you know. This can spray, just a spray paint. We'll paint these and color them up so you can see. But yeah, paint your white tub either black or blue, and then turn around and come back with some white paint and paint it back white again, and it won't shine through it. Okay, we put your tomato plant again in the middle, or a pepper plant. Some people want to put more than one pepper plant, so you can put 3 pepper plants, one here, and one over here, and grow them in there. If you're going to grow lettuce in here or spinach, put you about 7 around the outside, 1 in the middle, 6 around the outside, and 1 in the middle. 7 makes a perfect number in these tubs for you grow that many lettuce or spinach around in these tubs. I don't recommend putting but 1 tomato plant in these unless you're going to set it up on a barrel so that you can let these tomato plants grow down over the side. Then you got all this room to grow them. Otherwise, this cage won't hold but 1 tomato plant up here. Doesn't help any to put 4 tomato plants in it. Okay, you got any questions, Jack? I need to talk about this thing before I shut this video down. Folks, if you like these videos, subscribe, punch the button, ring the bell, and we'll make you another video. And yes, thank you for helping us get to 101,000 subscribers last week. We appreciate that very much. And let's see if we can go for 1 million now. No, 500,000, I guess, the next. All right, we'll see you later. Bye-bye. Hello, fellow gardeners. Well, we're back again. And I want to show you about this. This is a trucker's bucket or a vacationer's bucket. I'm going to show you how to go 3 weeks without having to water. I mean, it's some of you are busy or something or having to travel. This is the way to do it. All right, we're going to take one of these wicking tubs, whether you use the blue one or the red one or the black one. It doesn't make any difference. These happen. There's a farmer brought me 200 of these the other day and sold them to me, and his come with a lid. Now, not all these tubs are going to have lids, but I'm going to tell you, if you don't have a lid for them, all you got to do is take you a piece of plywood and cut it across just so it's big as this. It can be square, or it can be a sheet of sheet iron. Just anything for a lid. Just whatever you've got. But since this one had a lid on it, we took and cut this one. What we did, now we took a 5-gallon bucket. This is actually a 7-gallon bucket. And we set it on here and we drawed a circle around here. And just the size of this bucket, well, we actually used the top of the bucket, like that right there. And we drawed a line around there with a white marker. And then we cut right inside, 1 inch inside of that white mark. I can see a black mark where we did it right there. We cut inside 1 inch. Don't cut it just a small hole because it won't wick enough. We want this just 1 inch less so this can sit on your bucket. Okay, now you take this bucket and do not drill a hole in it. I say, do not drill a hole in it. You want a tub that holds water. This tub is going to hold about 18 inches of water. That's the reason we can go a month while it's small and still not have to water. This is going to be lovely to you. All right, now we're going to set this 7-gallon bucket down in there. We've got to drill holes along here. We missed that. We got to drill 4 holes, about a 1/2-inch holes, 4 of them in there, and set it down in the middle. Now you want this bucket to reach even with the top of this tub. Well, this one doesn't. So what we did, we took another bucket and cut us off a piece. If you can find that short tub out there that we cut a hole in the short little white bucket, bring it in, we'll show them what we did with the other one. Okay, so we cut this one. It's going to fit right down to this lip, and that made it up here just the right height to go across it. So we cut our hole in the lid, or in the plywood, or in the sheet of tin. Anything, just set it right in there like into that right there, on top of that. And you can see how this here is going to sit right on top of that. You do not put nothing in this here big tub that has no holes in it except this bucket that you want the top of it even with the lid. Whether you use a lid, whether you use a piece of plywood or a sheet of tin or something you've got that you can make this, because what we want to do now, I've been telling you for the last couple of years, one of these days we'll get to using these grow bags. These are Smart Pots made by Smart Pot in Oklahoma City. And I think this is one of the best bags you can buy. You can buy some cheap ones online from China and everything like that. But this one's going to last you for years. It's made out of a heavy felt. And get the 15-gallon one. That may be more than 15 gallon, but it's 15 because this is a 20-gallon tub. So that's a 15-gallon. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to cut this bottom. It's usually solid. And just set it right down there, and that'll be wonderful. All right, now then, we're going to take this and we're going to cut it in 6 pieces. I'm going to set it right on top of there, lay it right in the center, and I'm going to take a knife and split it crossways in 3 different ways, and that makes me 6 little old slits. Then what I'm going to do when I set it down on top of there, I'm going to push them down in there, just like into that, and fill it full of soil all the way to the bottom. Pour me that soil right down in this bucket right here. And we're going to fill that bucket down in the bottom now. Remember, the 5-gallon bucket in the middle, it's going to catch that soil and it runs all the way up here to the top. All right. See, that filled the bucket up down in there, and we're up here now in the bottom of this pot. Poke that soil down in there and make it good and tight down in that bucket. That's going to be your wick that's going to bring the water up to your plant. But this grow bag, what it improves is in the summertime, it's going to do a couple of different things. It's going to make your plant soil cooler. We did a test over at Noble Research about 3 or 4 years ago. We had the bucket setting there, the tubs. We had a 5-gallon white bucket setting there, and we had these grow bags. In these grow bags at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the soil would be 72 degrees. In these tubs and in those buckets, it would be 84 to 86. That's kind of hurting your roots, but you know, that's what we were trying to use, is those minnow tubs that were so available back then. This way, if you grow in the grow bag, your soil is going to be cooler. As your roots go out and go through this bag, it's going to root the air prune these roots at the outside edge of the bag. That root will die, and it will make a bunch of roots right on the inside of that bag that just goes all around this bag. So this is the new way I'm telling you, if you want to do the best I can tell you about right now, is use a grow bag setting on top of one of these mineral tubs, and there you have 25 gallons of water wicking up into this tub, which will last you a month while the plants are small. And there again, you just go ahead and fill this up with soil halfway, put your fertilizers in like same as we did in the tubs, then fill it up with soil and put your 1 tomato or put your 7 lettuce or 7 spinach in there, and you've got it full of soil and it's ready to grow, and you don't have to worry about this. You still got your pipe. Where'd I do on pipe? I know it's here somewhere. Hole. All right, there's our hole right there. We got to set this all the way down to the bottom of the pot. There's this out here in the water, just like that right there. It's sitting on the bottom, and you put your water in there after you've watered for the first couple of weeks on top, getting this wet. Then you start putting your water in there, and by the time you've watered this for a couple, 3 times a week for the first 2 or 3 weeks, that bottom is going to be pretty well full. But you can also mix up some fertilizer, 1 teaspoon per gallon, pour in there until it runs out this hole over here, and then you know it's full. And so then you're good for a month while it's still small. Now, if your plant is back in the summertime and it's 6 or 7 feet tall, you better water this about every 2 weeks, maybe every 10 days. But at least that gives you a longer span between your waters. It gives you a cooler soil on your plants, and it gives you some air root pruning that makes more roots to take up more fertilizer to make your plant grow better and produce more fruit. So, Jackie, you got a question?
This is for sun or shade.
Yeah, you can do this in the shade if you're using some kind of shade plants, but all of these vegetables need to be out in the sun. And there again, if you don't want the water filling these up, then what you do is mound this soil up in here, put your plastic over it with your plant in the middle or whatever you've got, and you can turn that water off. But I mean, in hot summertime, we usually don't have that problem. And I don't worry about it. I just fill mine up with soil and go ahead and plant my plants and let it rain on them, because rainwater is good for your plants. It's just, if you get an excess rain, it's going to go on down in there and flush out some of your fertilizer, which you can go back and put more fertilizer in. You know, your 3 or 4 teaspoons that you washed out there didn't cost you probably 20 cents or 25 cents anyway, so it won't break you. But anyway, all righty, that's what we're going to do. That's what we've done here, and this is the newest improvement we have. This is the grow bag sitting on top of a mineral tub full of water. Referring to this big tub, and some of you are going to call me and say, well, I've got these little short tubs here, these little tubs that are half as tall. So I was going to show you a different way to do this if you want to use that short tub. All right, when I cut this bucket off, I cut enough to make this just exactly this tall right there, see? So I cut that off, and I used that bottom part in the middle, and I put this on top of that other 5-gallon bucket to make it tall enough for the big one. All right, I can use this same lid, same piece of plywood or sheet iron or whatever I used on there for a lid. We can make a shorter one if you've got these kind of tubs, and then you just take your same grow bag and set on the top of it with a hole in the bottom, and all you got to do is go down in there and fill that full of soil down there the same way, so that bucket in the middle is full of soil. There is no holes in this little tub, okay? And anyway, you can just put that right in there and come up here. Now the only thing is, this is only about 8 or 10 inches of water. That will go a good week in the summertime, but it won't go as long as this one will, because this one's twice as tall. Anyway, I thought I'd just add that in, that don't waste them little tubs. Now, those of you that have the mineral tubs that are split on the bottom, don't throw them away. You can use them to make the other tub that goes on here instead of this bag if you want to. All you got to do is cut a hole in that bottom of that tub that's split. Let's say, for instance, that this, excuse me for the noise, but let's say this tub is split across the bottom, then you just cut you a hole in it, the size of the tub, less a 1 inch, so it'll sit on top of your tub, and then you can put your tub in there, and then just set this over in there like that, and you got it good to go. You can grow in that amount of soil right there. You got a hole with a bucket under it. You put your soil in there to wick, and that makes it good to go with that. So don't waste any of these old tubs. We can always find a use for them. If you like this video, subscribe, punch the button, ring the bell, and we'll come back and make you another video.